Hey friends, what's happening? What's shaking? What's going on? This is Andy coming to you again from here at Andy's World of Bass. Today I'm just going to make a short video for you and just share a little bit of my opinions about bass guitars. I was recently at the NAMM show and I saw a lot of instruments, played a lot of instruments, basses that, from, a few $100s all the way up to many thousands of dollars. And one thing I definitely know about bass guitars is it doesn't have to be expensive to be pretty good, and just because it's expensive doesn't mean it is good. Sometimes instruments that are inexpensive can be really great, and this is a perfect example. I mean, this bass might be worth $100 worth of spare parts that I put together. But the thing that makes it great is that the parts did go together and I know how to set it up. So I think that a lot of people that are struggling with their instruments to get a sound that they want, or just they don't feel like they're growing in their playing, it's probably because they're fighting their instrument. So learning how to set up the action, adjust the truss rod, shim the neck by putting some business cards or something up under the neck to get it at get the geometry to where you have a better straight angle. Learning how to set the intonation, finding some old used parts, like the older the better. Everything has decreased in value in terms of decreased in quality. The older stuff, even the old inexpensive stuff, is way better than the new stuff that's out. So this has old pickups from the 70s in it, and pots and stuff, and this body's from the late 70s. It's just a Hondo plywood body, but this bass is awesome. And I can tell you right now, this bass absolutely smokes a lot of the instruments that I played at the NAMM show. They're just the way that the economy is and the way that manufacturing is. Imported Asian instruments, they're trying to get $1,600–1,700 for Fender copies, and just because they have somebody's name on it, who has built up some sort of established reputation. Well, that's great, and that's cool. I get that, but it's still an Asian import. It's not that great of a bass. Maybe it's worth $800, but it's not worth $1,600. You know what I mean? That $1,600 is you're just paying for the name. So I'm not buying into that. There's no way I would ever spend $1,600 on one of those. Now, when I can get something for $300 and set it up myself and have it be just as good, I don't need the name on there. So, I don't know, maybe it would really behoove you to watch some videos about setup and watch some videos about the simple aspects of maintenance of your instrument that go beyond just changing the strings, and learning about some of the actual adjustments, because I could tell you, people, students and stuff, bring me their basses and I'm like, no wonder you're having so much trouble getting better. This instrument is almost impossible to play. It can go both ways. It can be where the action is really, really high and too hard to play, or it can be, you know, there seems to be this craze where the lower the action, the better. You know, a lot of these custom builders and stuff, they have the action so low that when you play it, that no sound comes out of it acoustically. It's just the string flapping on the fingerboard, and there's no concept for the physics that the string has to be up off there at least a little bit, at least enough to get some vibration going through the whole instrument. Bass, even these imports and stuff, you know, most of them, all you gotta do is polish the frets and get them to where they don't grind and they just bend real nice and smoothly. You know, you get one of those fret eraser things. It's a really cool little gadget, and you just you know, get them really good and shiny and take all the scratches and stuff out of them, and they just sing. I played a lot of great basses at NAMM, a lot of well done instruments, and even the whole import realm it comes down to quality control. How much quality control is being done post production, meaning the thing's made over in Asia somewhere. Does it go back to the factory, and does someone at that factory actually do a fret dressing on it? Not just check it over and make sure that it's doesn't have blemishes, and make sure that the tone knob works. I mean, do they do a fret dressing on it? You know, chances are they don't. And at $1,700, I think that's bullshit. I think that someone should sit there with every bass for an hour and a half and do a fret dressing on it. Make sure the nut is right. It's a lot of money. You know, people don't have a lot of money like that. You know, I have basses that are real valuable, cost a lot of money, and I have cheap ones like this, and I love them just as much. The reason that I love them all is because I can set them up myself and get them to where they sound the way I need them to sound, and they play the way that I need them to play. And it doesn't have to be a super expensive bass to be good. And just because it's an expensive bass and has somebody's name on it who's known doesn't mean it's all that good. You know, half of those imports that they want $1,500-$1,600 for, I would have to bring home, and I would have to do the fret ends, and I would have to do the nut, and you know, I'd have to go over it, or somebody would, you know, and then it would be pretty good. But you know, it's just not worth it, you know, in my opinion. You know, there's a few brands out there doing a pretty good job, you know, and some of them I work with, you know, that I think do a really good job with that quality control factor, where they bring the instruments back over from Asia to the custom shop, and a skilled tech goes over and really dresses the frets and gets them to where they are, you know, ready to go. They don't need anything else. You can tune it up, play it. You don't need to have a tech make it ready to play. And you know, I did play several at the NAMM show that were like that, you know, and kudos to those brands. But I played a few there that just had no business being there. You know, one guy I talked to, he wanted me to play his bass. I played it. He said, "Yeah, I'm doing this import line." He goes, "But you know, they just came out of the box, and you know, I didn't have time to set them up or anything, so you know." Kind of with this kind of like disclaimer, and I'm thinking, well, what the hell are they doing here at the NAMM show of all places? You know, you would think that you would take your NAMM samples to the best tech you know, and have them absolutely mint to put the best foot forward. So you know, I play the thing for 2 seconds, and I'm just like, God, you know, that's kind of dumb, don't you think, to bring an instrument that hasn't been gone through and checked out and really set up nice to a show that's all about presenting your product in the best possible way. So I'm just turning this into a little bit of a rant. That really wasn't the point. The point was that if we learn how to set up our instruments ourselves, we can take a relatively inexpensive instrument and turn it into a very functional, well-playing instrument that does a great job. And you don't always have to just give up on the bass you have and go get a new one just because you're struggling with it. A lot of times, all it needs is some TLC and to be set up in the best possible way that it can be. They all got nuts and bolts and screws, and they're adjustable in a whole bunch of ways. Most people don't really know how to, even a simple instrument like a Fender style instrument can be fine-tuned and made to where it has really nice you know, action and just the right amount, a small amount of relief to so that the, you know, you don't have any wolf tones or backwards buzz. And you know, intonation is perfect, and you know, nice smooth frets that don't grind or anything. So all that stuff can be done. It's not that hard. So I hope this video was helpful in some kind of a way. And yeah, thanks for watching all the videos. We'll see you next time. Peace.